In the days before Christmas, you noticed that things were a bit odd in your household. Your long-term boyfriend, lover, partner, and whatever you wish to call him, Todoroki Shoto, was clearly on edge. A sight that was very rare to behold given how calm and collected he usually was. Now, to everyone else, it may not have been easy to notice, but you have lived with him for multiple years now and had known him for even longer than that. So you definitely noticed when he began to nervously shift around when he was alone with you. Or the way that when you asked what was wrong, it asked to stutter out some lame excuse, and Shoto never stuttered. So naturally, you are very worried, especially regarding things about your relationships. It didn't appear to be acting that way around anyone but you, and it set a nervous pit in your stomach. When you and Shoto met Midoriya for lunch just a mere 2 days before Christmas, you carefully watched his every move to see if he'd act the way he did when he was at home with you. Of course he didn't. In fact, he seemed to be more relaxed than ever in the presence of his friend. Tears pricked in the back of your eyes at the sight of Shoto interacting with Izuku so freely after being so stiff around you for the past few weeks. You expect him to say something about your obviously lewd mood once you get home, but he never did. I'm gonna go shower, he said, while averting his eyes. You, not having the energy to respond, merely nodded. But when you looked up at him, it almost seemed like he wanted to say something, like his explanation about his behavior was on the tip of his tongue. But he left before any further word was spoken, leaving you alone with your sadness and confusion. Was it something you'd done? You dragged into your shared bedroom, preparing for another night of unanswered questions. Shoto, on the other hand, felt just as horrible as you did. Agonizing over this secret he had been keeping from you, it pained him to see the looks of betrayal on your face when he shied away from you for no obvious reason. It wasn't that he was upset with you or anything. No, it could never be. But he was supposed to keep this secret, and being around you only made it that much harder to do so. He'd never seen your spirit so down before, and it killed him to know that it was his fault. So much so that he considered blowing up his whole plan just to see you smile completely unforced again. He climbed into bed with you, hair still wet, and attempted to lighten the mood. Hey, I love you. Caught off guard, your breath itched. Your mind began to race again. You wouldn't have said it if you didn't mean it, right? A weak response came from you, and shared tears thick in your voice. Oh, I love you too, Sho. The next day was Christmas Eve, and Shoto's sudden change in behavior gave you white blush. Instead of mumbling out a good morning and running off, it woken you up with a kiss and a cup of hot coffee. Not that you didn't appreciate his acts, but it only served to further confuse you as you went from shift and nervous to cheerful and affectionate. It spent the whole day at your beck and call. Not that you ever asked him for anything other than a fraction of his time, which he readily gave today. Hey, what's got you in such a good mood? You mused. He chuckled at you teasing, a sharp contrast to his previous aversion to such questions. Don't you worry about that, love, he said with a hint of excitement glinting in his mismatched eyes. The rest of the day was spent with Shoto still being on the edge, except this time he seemed to buzz with giddiness. When it was time to sleep, instead you go-headed with he cleaned up the dishes. When the amount of time it took him to clean up, you came to the conclusion that he was most certainly doing something else. Though you trusted Shoto, and if he said not to worry, then you wouldn't. He padded into the bedroom with a barely containing grin and look in his eyes that set a fire under his skin. It was almost as if he was trying to make up for all the time he spent trying to avoid you by refusing to take his eyes off you in this moment. He then walked into the bathroom to brush his teeth while you removed all of the throw pillow from your bed onto the floor. Once you had taken the last pillow off, you felt Shoto's arms snake around as he buried his head into your neck to press gentle kisses there. A shiver ran down your spine at the feeling of his warm mouth against you. You breathed out his name, and it triggered him to spin you around to let your lip meet his. A startled moan left your mouth as something seemed to overtake him, and he quickly pinned you to the mattress to leave fervent kisses on your mouth and neck. But just as quickly as he was on you, it was rolling off with the content side, leaving you on your back, completely breathless. Shoto, what was that? You gasped. He acknowledged your question with a hum before looking at your state of even more confusion mixed with lust now. He chuckled before leaning over to press one more kiss to your lips and say, again, don't worry, I explain everything tomorrow. Sho, that's not fair. Just tell me now. You whined, causing him to laugh a little. No, that's gonna happen. Doesn't the saying go something like, Santa won't come unless you're asleep? We already put the present under the trees. Sho, I don't think Santa is going to put anything else there. You deadpan. Shoto rolled his eyes at your response to an obviously rhetorical question, but you also see a hint of mischief and something else that you can't quite place your finger on. Yeah, whatever, just gotta sleep in. You found out in the morning. And with that, you let yourself drift off. When you awoke, the sun was shining through the window and casting a soft glow through the room. Shoto was still asleep next to you, but your patient was gone, and you wanted to know the little secret he'd been keeping from you. You placed a light bulb on his nose, and he twitched before his pretty eyes opened. Lost, too early. He complains, but you can see the smile that is failing to hide. No way you're convincing me to stay in bed, not after how weird you've been acting lately. You admonish. At this, his nervous demeanor returned and you momentarily feel bad for striking a nerve. However, he had been acting odd and both of you knew that you deserve an explanation. He complies and let you drag him into the living room, knowing full well that you had no problem whining and poking him until he relented. You pulled him over the tree, excited to watch him open the gift you'd got him, which included a red and white sweater you'd made with the extensive help of your friend. But when your gaze settled on the tree, a sound of bewilderment escaped you. All of the wrapped presents that were there the night before were just gone. But upon further inspection, you spotted a small box front and center that you had not seen before. You whirled around and dramatically threw your hand in the air. Sho! Where did you put everything? Is that why you looked so blonde doing last night? You point an accusing finger in his face. He rubbed the back of his neck and noticed the pinkness beginning to rise in his cheeks. And now you're blushing. Why? Love, just go open that one, please, and I can't really take it anymore. He gestured to the suspicious box that rested on. You narrow your eyes at him and huff before trundling over and picking it up cautiously. You walked over to the couch with it and sit down next to Shoto, whose blush is burning brighter than ever as he began to fidget with his fingers. Deciding to put him out of his misery, you start to tear the delicate wrapping to reveal a sleek black box. The size of it suddenly rang a bell, and your heart started to beat wildly in your chest. Was this what you thought it was? You don't have time to open it for yourself, as Shoto plucks the box from your finger and drops to the floor on one knee. He let out a shaggy breath before pulling the box open to reveal a gorgeous, shining ring to your eyes. You breathe out with tears springing in your eyes. Listen, I practiced this for a while, but looking at you is just making me forget everything, so bear with me. I've loved you for a long time. That much you already know. You're the light of my life, and the day where I get to wake up next to you are the one that I cherish most than everything. You help me feel like I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulder, and I love you for it. I love the way your eyes light up when you smile, the way you dance when you cling, because you think no one's watching you, and the way you manage to bring out the good in everyone you meet. I want to spend the rest of my life seeing those things. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So, will you marry me? At this point, tears are streaming down both of your cheeks, and you shoot forward to tackle Shoto onto the ground to kiss him until both of you can no longer breathe. Yes, of course I'm marrying you, Sho. You cry through kisses. His arms pull you closer to his chest, and you can feel his wet face against yours. I love you so much. I want to spend the rest of my life with you too. He lets his head fall back on the floor with a sigh of relief. So, Shono, next time you're proposing to someone, try not like you're scared of them before you do it. You reprimand with a poke to his chest. Yeah, sorry about that, love. I was nervous, if you couldn't tell. But let's get that ring on your finger now, my fiancé. He teases through. For he does nothing to hide his wide smile of unadulterated joy. When he slipped in on your finger, you wonder how you lived before this moment with him. He pulls your hand up to his lips to leave a delicate kiss there, and your heart stutters again. And your heart flutters again. Well, now my parents are gonna seem lame after this show. Well, now my presents are gonna seem lame after this show. Don't worry. Your saying yes was more than I could ever want.